What's up, my dudes? Today we are revisiting the topic pistol rounds. I did a video on them a while ago, but it got a little bit longer than I expected. Ahem. So today I wanted to remake this video. This video right here will still be a full pistol round guide, so I will cover a lot of basics, but also some central points for higher level players to consider, so you might still learn something even if you know how the different pistols work. Hope this helps. Enjoy! So when talking about pistol rounds, we firstly need to talk about how you should buy on pistol rounds. And let me give you some general points first for buying before we go on to T and CT side buying. The pistol round is very important to win, so you should always buy as much as you can in your pistol round for your $800 that you get at the start. Pistol rounds are not eco rounds, meaning that you should not save on pistol rounds. Always try to win the pistol round with everything you have, and only like that you can boost your economy significantly. I repeat, do not save any money in pistol rounds. Thank you. On pistol rounds, basically as in every other round, utility is incredibly important. Make sure you have enough smokes on your team to execute onto a side or to slow down pushes. Buying armor on pistol round is never really wrong, because you are harder to kill and you can also use that armor next round. The Deagle is not the best pistol for pistol round, because with its 7 round mag it is neither suited to quickly rushing a bomb site and spamming the shit out of everyone, nor is it suited to defending a bomb site against 5 angry T-side players. Also, you can't buy any utility after buying a Deagle. But since none of the other pistols have amazing range, you could have one Deagle player on your team who plays the longest angles on the map, for example top mid, like this, and tries to build up damage onto the enemies. If you decide to buy a Deagle, go for body shots mainly, to get as much damage as you can onto every player, so your teammates can finish them with their weaker pistols, like USPs. Now, let's discuss your buying options on T side first. The Glock is the T-side default pistol. It doesn't have very good range damage and is generally considered to be the worst weapon in the game, for good reason, but in pistol round it can be surprisingly effective. Due to the low range damage, you have to play it on close range and keep running it gunning, and moving in general. But the advantage of keeping your Glock are that you can either buy armor or you can buy a full set of nades. If you are generally a support player like me and know a lot of utility lineups and such, this is your go-to. You just keep your Glock and get 3 nades. Since neither the Glock nor the Tech 9 have great range, you also have the option to buy a P350. The P350 is pretty similar to the CT's USP. It has about the same range damage, so if you want to play longer angles you can buy this to contest the USPs of the CTs on medium range. If you buy a P350 you can't buy armor anymore, but you can still buy 2 nades. So on a larger map like Province for example, I often buy a P350 for range and a flashbang and a smoke. The Tech 9 might be the most popular T-side pistol because it got a high DPS output on close range and does have a very good running accuracy, so even if you move you're still fairly accurate. So for pushing into bomb sites this might be the most effective weapon. You can also buy 1 more nade if you buy Tech 9. On CT side your default pistol is the USP. The USP is a very good pistol for pistol round because it can one-tap in the head even on medium distances, so it has better range damage than the Tech 9 and the Glock of the Ts. It is not that good for close range because it only deals significant damage into the head, so if you keep your USP you should try to play long range. Also, if you keep your USP you can either buy armor or a full set of utility. So again, if you're a support player, keep your USP and buy nades. Since the P350 is pretty similar to the USP, I think on CT side you should not buy a P350. Just because those $300 that you spend on the P350, which doesn't really differ from the USP, could better be spent in an additional smoke grenade or something like that. The 5.7 is very good for spamming on close range, but on mid range it kinda sucks, so only buy it if you want to play close range angles. Also on CT side there's the option to buy diffuse kit. The diffuse kit is not necessary for all teammates. It might be better if some of your teammates have a diffuse kit, but generally a well-used flashbang brings a lot more value into the round than a diffuse kit. So if you have to decide between the two, a flashbang might normally be the better choice if some of your mates have kits already. So how should you play pistol rounds? Generally, the most important rule is that you should go for headshots, except maybe with a deagle, because body shots on the deagle really have some value too, but with all other pistols you always have to aim for the head, especially on longer ranges, because they don't do a lot of damage onto the body. On longer ranges you want to tap fire, so instead of spamming on long range you want to shoot shot by shot and wait in between. This way you are much more accurate and much more likely to hit a headshot onto your enemy. Also, you should always keep moving. If you are taking a fight, try to jiggle and crouch and uncrouch. And if you have a weapon like the Tech 9, you can sometimes even fully run while you shoot, especially if you go onto a bomb site. Also, don't save any pistols if you are losing the pistol round, because you will very likely buy a better weapon anyway. So if you have a pistol and the pistol round is nearly over and you're about to lose it, still try to get as many kills as possible, just to get some more money to spend on the next few rounds. If you bought armor in the pistol round though, you can definitely save that, because you can use it in the next round. Now, when playing on the T side, a very important thing to realize is that the CTs have a range advantage with their USPs, because if you only have Glocks and Tech 9s, they will do more damage on range, so you have to get close to them in order for your guns to be effective. Your best chance of winning a pistol round is to group up and rush a site very quickly, because obviously moving targets are very hard to hit. Stay close to each other to trade kill your way into the bomb site. Use your utility to push the CTs back and deny them information about what your team is about to do. And also remember to hide the bomb until you push. Here's an example of using your utility to deny information. You can, for example, throw this lurk smoke that will land here on A short, and no city behind will know what is going on. So you can sneak up here with your teammates, and then when you guys are ready you can flash over, turn around and rush the bomb site. You can also use your grenades to push anyone in archers back, for example, and clear the site. If the smoke is over here, the CTs on the side will have no idea what you're doing, even if there's 5 people behind the smoke. So try to surprise them by using your utility effectively. Now, when you rush the site, do it quickly and do it together. If you take too long to take over the bomb site, the CTs on the other bomb site will have time to rotate over and help their teammates. This will very likely lose you the round. If you remember, that is, in my opinion, the #1 T-side mistake you can make, so don't do that. Also, getting the bomb plant is very important on pistol round to get a bit more money that you can spend on the next rounds. If you can, plant the bomb. Always plant the bomb, even if you're about to lose the pistol round. This way you will at least get your team some money bonus for the next round. Now, in general, as a CT on pistol round, you have to stay mobile to support your teammates and to work certain areas together. With your USP, you have a natural range advantage, as I already mentioned, so play long angles and take 1v1 aim duels where you go for headshots. Play fallback angles because the Ts will most likely rush as a team and you only have a few bullets, 12 to be exact, before you have to reload. If you see the Ts rushing towards you, try to survive and buy time for your team. Only buy a 5-7 if your team really needs you to play close angles. On Province this would only be tunnels or maybe be short, but if you can, play longer angles, for example on the A side. Keep your USP and play on long range. Also, remember to use your utility to delay the T-rush so that your team can rotate in and support you before you get overwhelmed on the bomb side. Something very important to note is that with their bad weapons, the Ts can't punish you as much for picking aggressive angles. So in order to spot rushes early, play aggressive angles, go for info and then fall back when you have the info. This is what I call controlled aggression, and I've already made a video on this, I will link that in the description. So putting that all together, for example, as a CT player, if you have a USP and utility, you can jig along early round, for example, and if you see that Ts are rushing towards you, you can try to take a 1v1 and then fall back. You can play in an angle like this, and if they still push you, use your smoke to delay them and fall further back. If they really push you hard, you can also flash out and peek again, or just nade them. Whatever you do, try to buy time for your teammates. Lastly, I want to give you one alternative strategy to the default setup on pistol rounds. You might have already seen this in some tier 1 scrims, but in pistol rounds it is sometimes a good strategy to actually rush as CTs. If your team is very good at rushing together, you can decide to have one player guard one bomb site, while the other 4 players rush down the other bomb site. This way you have the best possible chances to win your gunfights, because you might catch your enemies off guard, so maybe they won't expect a counter rush, and a 4v5, so if your 4 teammates who rush meet the enemy team, will give you the best chances of winning your team's gunfights, especially compared to 5 Ts rushing one bomb site with 2 CTs on it, where the rest of the CTs still have to rotate in. Here on Province you could do that strategy by having one player playing on A, angles like this, or just generally here playing on short and getting some info on mid and on A long, without dying early, so he really has to watch out to stay alive. And you could have all the other 4 players rushing through B, taking mid control, taking banana control. If they encounter the enemy, it's basically even numbers, so they might have a good chance to win that gunfight and win you the round. Now, to summarize what we have learned, first of all, it's very important to note that you should never save any money in pistol rounds. Winning the pistol round is much more important than saving $500. These $500 might be a smoke and a flash, and if you don't have those on CT side, for example, and terrorists push your side, and because you don't have a smoke they kill you and you lose the round, then the $500 you saved won't do shit. So please do not save any money. On T side in pistol rounds you have to push very quickly as a team. Go for close range engagements, keep moving when you fight someone, and try to plant at all costs to get extra money. On CT side, mostly keep your USP and try to play long range angles. If you get pushed hard, try to delay that push and try to stay alive. for example by using utility, and try to get a lot of information early. I hope this is an improvement to the 40-minute video I originally did. Hope this helped, and peace!